Have you ever been so late to a party that the party was over? Well, that's kind of what's happening to me right now. But finally, I have decided that I'm going to be a big boy.
I'm a big boy!
And I'm going to try speed paints and see how it goes. Because, well, Slapchop's been around for well over a year now, and it's probably about time I give it a shot, especially if I'm going to be painting miniatures. Another way that I'm trying to be a big boy is that I am trying to finally finish my Gravedigger army for Warmachine. And I thought, this might be a good way to do that because I have these Rangers that, there's 5 of them to a squad. And I'm thinking, if I can paint 5 of these really fast, that could be a worthwhile thing. I only need a few more things for my army. But the thing that's really key in all of this is that it's gotta be close enough to fit in with my other units. So can I speed paint in a way that looks good enough to go in with my army and not be like an eyesore or something different? And with that being said, how do speed paints actually behave? Because that's the thing that honestly, I haven't dealt with them before, so I don't know. So that's what today is. First things first, in my understanding of how Slapchop works, you basically take a black miniature and you dry brush it white. Okay, and for those of you who don't know what dry brushing means, it means you get a giant makeup brush, you put a little bit of paint on it to the point where it's almost dry, and then you start hitting the model. Okay, and getting it, honestly, as white as you can in all the areas that you want to be bright. That's the key. That's the key to using the Slapchop, is that speed paints work better generally on lighter colored surfaces. Okay, they're transparent paints for a reason, and where they pool really heavy is where the color is the darkest, and where they don't pool much, that's where it's going to be the brightest. And so when you paint your miniature, that's what you want to do. And so that's the first thing I did, is I got 5 of these guys and I dry brushed them white. I kept some of the shadow areas dark, and then I started speed painting. And I thought, if I'm going to use speed paints, I should probably do it fast. So I decided I was going to do another thing. I was going to challenge myself, and I was going to paint this miniature as fast as I could. Because speed paints, they're supposed to be fast, right? So were they? Let's find out. Okay, so first things first, this is what it looks like. I'm setting my 30-minute timer and I'm just getting into it. I've done it as white as I can get it. I primed them in a different video, blue from the bottom, yellow from the top, and I've liked that for some of them. For this, it's not necessary. You could have just done black on white and it would have worked just good. I do like having the blue undertone with it. I think it's just kind of nice. But anyway, I went around, I hit it with the greenish blue, and then I thought, well, while that dries, let's move on to something else. I went to the leather. Okay, so just a quick little thing. When I started painting this, I didn't have a million colors. I've only got like 20 of the speed paint colors. Thank you, Army Painter. Thank you, Alan, who sent me these paints. And they didn't match the blue tone that I was going for with my other Gravediggers. But I thought if I combined 2 of them, they might. And so, even though the first color wasn't my favorite, I combine it later on, and I really like how it turns out. Is it exact? No, but it's surprisingly close. Like, again, close enough that if it was in my army, I wouldn't think twice about it. Hitting the leather as much as I can, just going around the unit, doing the shoes, doing the straps, obviously the backpack on it. And one of the cool things about speed paint is that it flows really well. And so if you cover the brush with it, it works out super nice and just covers things just the way that it's supposed to do it. And like I said, they're speed paints for a reason. And through the process, I was trying to figure things out. And I was like, well, I can't have all of the leather and wood and everything be the same color. So I went with a different color, a lighter brown, for the gun versus the leather on his backpacks. I try to do that. I know you don't need to, but I don't know. I'm anal like that. Now, the thing that I was super surprised with was the silver. Normally, silver on white is kind of like a hard thing, but the speed paint silver, man, it went on so nice and it looked so good. And so I started hitting all the armor with it, and I just thought, man, this looks really, really good. And make sure your paints are mixed well, because if they're not shaken up, it causes problems. But for this, it worked super well, and I was very happy with how it turned out. And I also did like buckles, the gun. There's a shovel in his backpack because he's a gravedigger. He's got to have a shovel. And I was just super happy with the silver. Then I wanted to paint the face. And this is where I learned something hard. I did not do his face all white. Literally half of his face is black, half of his face is white, and the half that is white, it went on really good. I'll show pictures afterwards. And the darker half, it just looks like it's completely in shadow. I got a nice orange for the rope in his backpack. It goes into the creases of the rope perfectly. The speed paint was great. I hit the face 2 or 3 times just because I wasn't sure. And then I just kept going. I went back. I hit the color with a blue on top of the kind of aqua green to get the gravedigger color that I was going for. And I'll show you in comparison to what the actual painted ones look like in a minute. But then I came back. There's a couple things I wanted to do in gold, and oh my goodness, the speed paint gold. It was perfect. It went on, and it was just beautiful, and I was super happy with it. So anyway, after that, it's just doing touch-ups and things. Usually I struggle with lips, but because of how speed paint works, it just made the lips a different color by dropping into it. Now, originally, these Rangers were not part of the Gravedigger army that I was going to do, but I like to have the ability to change things up, and that's one of the great things about Warmachine, is that I feel like you can change up something small, like one group of Rangers, and it really changes how your army operates. And always, if you want to know a little bit more about Warmachine, there are some fantastic content creators out there. One of my personal favorites is the Ice King, who, for work reasons, is not putting anything out there, but I'll put a link to his channel below because he will be back soon. And when he's back, you will be regaled with incredible things of Warmachine on his channel often. He is incredible, and I would not be here if it wasn't for people like him and the support they give in this hobby, because it's fantastic. The Warmachine community is phenomenal. So anyway, check him out. I came back with the white, hoping to do a little bit of edge highlights on things. But again, I'm not super familiar with how this works. And in the end, I was just like, you know what? I don't think it's necessary for what I'm doing. So I'll leave it be. Let's do some final rivets and things like that in the silver again. And then let's get out the black. Let's do the soles of his shoes. And basically, that's it. Like I said, super fast, super easy, and I will show you some detailed pictures in a second on how it turned out. And I finished it in 28 minutes. And here's the side-by-side comparison. And that's it. I originally set the timer, giving myself 30 minutes because I thought I can do this in 30 minutes, and I ended up only taking about 28. Now, could I have taken more? Absolutely. Okay, but I don't know enough about the speed paints and how they act with each other and things like that to have gone much deeper than this. And for a trial run, I thought this was amazing. So what did I learn along the way? Speed paints are cool. Like, they are fantastic. When I hold this miniature up side by side with the others, it is very similar. What are the differences? Well, the differences are detail. I mean, speed paints are meant to be fast. This is, if you don't want to paint and like to paint and just want to get it over with, I don't know of a better option, because a miniature in 30 minutes, and if you're doing like 5 of them at a time, you can do 5 minutes in like an hour and a half. Like that's insane from what I have learned. Okay. Now, as someone who is on a journey to become the best painter that I can, speed paints are nice, but they take away from learning how to do those highlights, learning how to do the blending, because they do it for you. And I'm not going to say they do it better, because I feel like part of being artistic is finding out your style, and you find it out by trying those things. Speed paints are amazing. They do exactly what they say. They help you paint with speed. They look so much better than I thought. And I'm not saying that you can't have like top tier quality painted miniatures with speed paints. You can, but I don't know how to do that yet. So I'm going to keep experimenting and keep learning, and hopefully I find a way to use them both in my grand repertoire of painting. And it's something that is interesting and looks great. And when I'm done, I feel like that was a good use of time. That was a great looking model, and I'm super happy with it, and I have no regrets, because ultimately that's the goal, right? So do you use speed paints? How do you make your speed paints look better? I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that just do speed paints, but do you use the sponge with it? Do you use highlights with normal paints? Do you highlight with speed paints? Like, these are the things that I'm curious of. I want to know how people are using speed paints, especially if it's in a way that I'm not, because I'm just literally just slapping it onto these minis and just hoping for the best, right? So please put that in the comments below. And if you like this video, hit that like button. Follow the channel. I'm putting stuff out every single week. I do a lot of different games, but it's always tabletop related, and it's always about becoming better at your craft, whether that's building, printing, a little bit of playing. I'm trying to do a little bit more of that, and especially painting. And if you like that, I would love to have you along and hear about your journey as well. So, as always, thank you for sticking around for the video, and don't forget, don't spend so much time building your world that you forget to spend some time in it. Until next time.